Hello, welcome to Now Tell Us. At Now Tell Us is where we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and entertain us, they come and inspire us, they come and teach us a subject that they are passionate about. And always we are having a great time. Yes, you've been here with us and we thank you. All our viewers, our audience, we thank you. If you're there, please, we would ask you to comment, ask a question, inspire us to keep on going. We thank you for that. And just to mention, we are number 3 at Podmatch. Wow. Hey, there we are. Number 3. And we thank you for being with us this far as we close the year. It's just one day to a new year. And now, since you are going into the new year, I know you have resolutions to make and achieve them. And our guest today is going to give you an insight of how to achieve much in less time. And we are calling it the 30-minute hour. He is actually known as America's Chief Results Officer. His name is Blaine Oelkers, and he will be here shortly. So stay here with me and let's welcome Blaine. Here we go. Hello, Blaine.
Hello, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I love your show. I love that you're number 3 on Podmatch. And your show is so successful, I think, because it's so interesting, right? So every episode, it's a different person, it's a different story, but it's also a different insight and a different teaching, and everyone's a little bit better, right? And I think that you and I both talk about, the one person you have to beat is just your yesterday self, right? And just getting a little bit better day by day, a little better. And so today I hope I can share a little bit and be as good as all those other guests. And if you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do. It's so interesting and so kind of unique each time. So I really do enjoy it. And now I'm happy to actually be on it.
Wow, I love your energy. Thank you, Blaine. And talking about a new guest every time, new experiences, new insights. Now, I've not come before. I've never come across the name Alcas. Please tell us about that.
Yes. So my name, Elkers, it used to be like Ulkers with umlauts. And so it's kind of a German origin,
Okay.
to it. And, if you go a couple generations back, yeah, they came over from Germany. And yeah, and so it served me well. Sometimes people can't pronounce it, but you did a great job. So well done.
I practiced and practiced until I thought I was going to bite my tongue. And thank you for that compliment. I appreciate. Now, you're not in Germany, are you?
No, I'm actually in Phoenix, Arizona, and I feel a little guilty because it's pretty warm. It's pretty nice out, but a
Uh,
lot of the U.S. at this time of the year is under kind of an Arctic blast right now. But we're doing great, and yeah, I've been living here, almost 30 years, coming up on 30 years now. So it's been a great area for us.
Beautiful. Yeah, I hear there are some parts in the US where we have a 4 feet level of snow.
Right, right. How about you in Athens? You're in Athens, Greece. What kind of weather is it there today?
The weather is chilly. Um, it's not as cold. I mean, here we experience snow for at most 1 week. For the time that I've been here, the past 15 years or so, the most that we've had snow on the ground is 1 week.
Okay. Okay.
Most. And our summers are beautiful. We have people flying from up coming here every summer to go into the sea and to go to the islands. And then they talk about the most beautiful islands being in Greece.
Yeah, I love it. I love the pictures of kind of the white buildings with the blue water, and it's a yeah, beautiful place, beautiful part of the world. So awesome.
Okay, let me wish you a happy new year in advance and a prosperous one in that.
Yes, New Year, it's such a great time, right? It's such a great time where, people look back. So I like to look back over this last year and catalog some wins, some achievements, right? But
Mhm,
also take everything that I've learned from all these other years and take all that stuff and then invest it into this next year. Right, to kind of
mhm,
make it the best year yet, and we can't. One of my mentors, Jim Rohn, he said, "It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens." And so
mhm,
circumstance is going to run its little course. The world's going to do its thing. You can't control that. But what you can control is your response, your reaction, what you do, right? And so this is a great time of year to start to think about next year. Maybe cast a new vision for yourself next year, a
mhm,
new dream outcome for next year, and get excited about it, because that's one of the big reasons we set goals, is for the motivation and the energy that they give us to get things done, right? So,
mhm.
and once you start getting things done is the engine of more. So you start to want to do more. You start to win the battle of the brain chemicals. You get the dopamine going, the serotonin going. You feel good. You're more energetic, and you get more stuff done.
Wow, wow, I love that. And to mention, I love Jim Rohn. May God
Oh,
rest
nice.
in peace. But he left a gem in this world that is going to outlive him for many, many years to come. And I love personal development. So talk of Jim Rohn, talk of Zig Ziglar, talk of Les Brown, talk of all those people that teach you to be the best version of yourself. Work at improving your everyday life on a single. I mean, every single minute doing something towards living a positive life and being a benefit to this world. I love that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Me as well. Me as well. So we're cut from the same mold there. So that's good.
Yeah, and I kind of saw something on your profile where you can sum up all personal development in one word, in one sentence rather. Which is it? I'm curious.
Yeah, so I did, and maybe we'll talk about this later, but I did a TEDx talk, and
Uh-huh.
so when you do these TEDx talks, they're limited in time. They can only be like 12 to 18 minutes, but you have to share one big idea worth sharing. That's the topic of these TED talks. And so for me, it was this concept. Well, I created an acronym, a word. I created my own word called YTABA. So YTABA is it sounds like a circus tiger's name, but it's not. It stands for what you think about, you bring about. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had a moment of dawning comprehension when I was in college. I went to Purdue University, and I saw this ad. And maybe like a lot of listeners here, I've always been a seeker of knowledge and how do I do better and get better. And I saw
Mm-hmm.
this ad, and it was for the reading of a book called Think and Grow Rich, but it was actually read by Earl Nightingale, who actually ended up being one of my mentors. He's got a great program, Lead the Field.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got this audio tape. I listened to him reading this kind of abridged version of it. Then I bought the book and I read the book. And as I read that book, Think and Grow Rich, I realized that it was my thoughts that were really going to create my future. Now I had to do the work. It wasn't just a law of attraction, like think it and it happens, but it was
Mm-hmm.
what you think about, you bring it about. And so that set me on a course. And I really think that's the most important lesson we can learn, is that our thoughts end up creating the reality. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the part of the brain that moves things from the kind of subconscious mind into the conscious mind. So it decides what it lets you think about, basically. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you thought about everything, like your breathing and your blood's pumping and you've got all five senses going into your brain, like you'd go crazy. There's 1,000 different things happening in your body right now.
Yeah.
So the reticular activating system, it's the part of the brain that says, oh, this is important, you need to hear this, right? Like if you're in a crowded airport and someone says your name, you hear your own name. You don't hear all the other names and all this stuff, because your reticular activating system is tuned into that. Another good example of that is my son. He bought his first car, and it was this maroon colored Acura TL. Now, I had never seen that car before in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
he sent me this very emotional picture. He bought it with his own money. It was his first car. So he sent me this emotional picture of this car, which I had never seen before. But would you know it, after he showed me that picture, for the
Mm-hmm.
next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm seeing that car everywhere. It pulls
Mm.
up right up next to me. I drive by the lot. There it is in the front of the lot. Wait a second. Who's putting all these cars in front of me? Well, my reticular activating system is putting those things in. So a lot of people have had that experience. You buy a new red car, you see the red car. And so you notice that you can take control of that and you can feed that reticular activating system so it begins to show you the opportunities, but then you need to act on those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that is the one sentence is what you think about, you bring about.
What you think about, you bring about. Wow, that's wonderful. Now, talking about the TEDx that is given only about 18 minutes. Now, we know that we don't have all the time here. We've got like a lot of things to cover, not even a 1 hour's thing. And we have to compress it to 30 minutes. And then we are going to talk about the 30-minute hour. Now, how do we do things that we are supposed to do in 30 minutes? I mean, or rather, in 1 hour, uh, into 30 minutes. Please dive us into that.
Okay, so the 30-minute hour is a framework that I teach. And I started a company. I kind of feel I realized back in like 2009, I realized why I was on the planet, which is a really another moment of dawning comprehension. But I'm here to help people take control of their lives by taking control of themselves, something I
Mm-hmm.
call self-fluence. And so self-fluence, all the frameworks we teach, everything you need is within reach. You're already doing it. And if you decide, you can master it, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't need a special app. You don't need to download anything. So we're going to talk about the 30-minute hour, but you and all the listeners, you already know how to do it. We're just going to give you some focus and some guidance and some direction. Now, before I show you this, though, this framework is very powerful. And it's so powerful, Anthony, that I have to make sure that it's used for good and not for evil.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that you and I have 4 30-minute hours in a row. So what that means is we got 4 hours worth of work done in just 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves us 2 guilt-free hours to do whatever we want.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the good evil part is that a lot of people are type A personalities like me, and we'll just go do more work. I can get more work done. I don't want you to use all of this new power just to get more work done, right? So if I
Mm-hmm.
had 2 guilt-free hours, if me, Blaine Oelkers, if I had 2 free hours, I would connect with my kids. They're out of the nest now, but I love to connect with the kids. I
Yeah.
connect with my kids. I'd probably go for a hike. I like to get outside, go for a hike. I have a Peloton bike here. I love to ride the Peloton, probably ride the Peloton bike. And then I probably take a little nap. I work from home. I like the good old fashioned 15, 20-minute power nap. That's what I would do. What about you, Anthony? What would you do with 2 guilt-free hours, but you're not allowed to work? What would you do?
What will I do? I mean, I will definitely also reach out to my family far and wide. And am I allowed to go on TikTok? I love.
If that's what you like to do, whatever you want to do, it's your guilt-free time. Free
Yeah.
time.
Okay. Yeah, I would go on TikTok and other social media. That's guilt-free time.
Okay, excellent,
Mm.
excellent. So what I want the listeners to do is I want you, as you begin to have these 30-minute hours, as you get more productive, as you get more stuff done, I want you to put some of that stuff back into your day, right? Because I studied people in the last few weeks of their life,
Mm-hmm.
and they all said the same thing. They all said, I wish I had more memorable moments with the people that I love. Now,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the people they love, it was family, but it could be friends, it could be peers, it could be people they worked with, but they wanted more memorable moments with those people. They didn't want to work more. They didn't wish they worked more, and many times they didn't wish they accumulated more wealth or anything like that. They wish they
Mm-hmm.
had more memorable moments with the people they love. The only other thing they mentioned was they wish they had more impact with the things they learned in their life. So they wish that they would have shared more, or maybe wrote a book, or did some kind of recording to teach other people. So anyway,
Mm.
all right. So now let's get back to this, the 30-minute hour. Now, there is a day of the year that is the most productive day of the year for people, is this certain day of the year. Now, it's not like January 1st or something like that, but there's a day where people are 3 to 10 times more productive than their ordinary day. Now, that's 3 to 10 times. That's 3x to 10x. We're only looking for 2x, so this is going to be easy. Do you know what day? Now, some people have this more than once a year, but do you know what the most productive day of the year is?
I was going to say birthday, but then you say some people have twice, and there's nobody born twice in a year.
Correct.
Yeah,
All right. So it is going to be very intuitive for you. But the most productive day of the year, where people get 3 to 10 times more stuff done than the ordinary day, is actually the day before vacation. So think about this. Think about the day before vacation. People
yeah.
get 3 to 10 times more stuff done. And I realized in my own life that was like my most productive day. Like I crushed it that day before vacation. So what
Mm-hmm.
I did is I studied all these people on the day before vacation to distill down what are the things that make that day so productive, right? And how can I bring those out into my normal day? And I came up with 3 things, and I made a little acronym, PDF. So when
Yeah.
you think of the 30-minute hour, I want you to think of the day before vacation, and then I want you to think about PDF. Now, PDF is easy for people to remember because they say, email me the PDF or print
Yeah.
out the PDF. So people
Mm-hmm.
know that little acronym. In our case, what it stands for is plan, delegate, focus. So let me talk
Mm-hmm.
about how you can create these 30-minute hours by using all 3 of those. So when you look at planning, when you think about the day before vacation, people really plan that day out, like sometimes down to the minute, right? But you're
Mm-hmm.
planning out that day definitely by the hour. So what I do is the day before my next day, I plan it out like down to the hour. Here are my appointments. Here's my time block. Here's my exercise. And I over plan it a little bit, like I
Mm-hmm.
do the day before vacation, which tends to keep me focused. Shiny objects aren't as shiny, like I'm less distractible because I made that plan. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing on the planning side is that on the day before vacation, people wake up 30 to 60 minutes earlier that day. Now, I'm not saying you do that every day, but if you want a 30-minute hour, your first hour, you wake up 30 minutes earlier, you got an extra 30 minutes, right? So you can create it instantly. The
Mm-hmm.
other 2 things about planning is that on the day before vacation, you have a very clear vision of what has to get done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now, are you familiar with, there's a principle called the 80-20 rule. Have you heard of that before?
I've heard of that.
Okay, do you know what that is?
That is 20% of the effort that produces 80% of the results, I guess.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly right. And what happens is most people know that, but they wait till the day before vacation to actually use it. And what I mean by that is that 20% of what you do produces 80% of your results. So, like if you have 10 things to do, 2 of those are typically much more valuable than the others. And so, on the day before vacation, as I studied people, I noticed that they focused in on the 20% and
Mm-hmm.
they ousted the 80%, meaning the 80% of the stuff you do that only produces 20% of the results. They didn't have time for that because they're going on vacation, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you plan your day and you look at your day, I want you to look at that and say, if this is one of the 20, let me focus in on the 20% that makes the big difference, and let me defer or delegate, or push out or oust the 80%. So that
Mm-hmm.
brings us to the second one, which is delegate and defer, right? So the first one's planning. Second one, the D stands for delegate. And
Mm-hmm.
so what happens is on the day before vacation, people think who before do. So that's a little saying, who before do. They
Yeah.
think who could do this before I go do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people delegate so much more and so much more easily on the day before vacation. So I bring that into my regular day. I'm always thinking, who before I do this, is there someone else? Could I train someone to do it? A lot of times my wife will say she's going to run some errands, and she'll say, can I do anything for you? Oh, yes. You can go to the bank, the post office, all this stuff, and she gives me a 30-minute hour just by me delegating some of those errands and tasks, to her. So
Mhm.
think about that. Think who before do, and delegate more. And then the last one, where I personally get my most 30-minute hours, comes from focus, right? So we have plan, delegate, focus. And on the day before vacation, people have this weird, fierce focus. Like you are unstoppable, right? Think about all the things that don't happen on the day
Yeah.
before vacation, right? There's no chit chat. You don't have time to chase the shiny objects. You don't have time for long responses. It's more like go, go, go mode, right? So
Mhm,
think
mhm.
about that. And the other interesting thing that happens. So are you a fan of James Bond movies? Do you like James Bond movies?
I've watched some. Um,
Okay, so
that,
in
that's
19
years back.
okay, so in 1963, the
Yes.
very first James Bond movie came out. Do you happen to know what it is?
Was it? I can't remember. I haven't. I don't. Was, but it wasn't 007 or something.
Right. 007 was his little code name, right? But
Oh,
but the
yeah.
name of that movie, the
It
name of
was
his very first movie was called Doctor No.
Doctor No.
So
Yeah.
it was about Doctor No. But
I remembered it. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so Doctor No. Now the thing is, on the day before vacation, I realized that everyone becomes Doctor No, right? So like,
Mhm,
Blaine, can you do this? Blaine, can you do this? No, 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 no. My default answer is no. And so what you want to do is to create more productivity, more 30-minute hours, you need to say no more. You need to become Doctor No, right?
mhm.
Because when you say no, you avoid the opposite of the 30-minute hour is the 90-minute hour. Now, the 90-minute hour is where someone asks for an hour of your time, but it takes 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or somebody asks for 10 minutes of your time and it takes 30 minutes, right? So,
Mhm,
really, you want to start to say no as much as possible. The other
mhm,
thing about your focus is on the day before vacation, people tend to stay on schedule more and they're using timers. So they're saying, I'm doing this at 1 o'clock, doing this at 2 o'clock. So schedule your day out. But then when you're doing something that you tend to drift, like if I say I'm going to check my email, or I'm going to do a social media post, or I'm going to do internet research, all those things, they kind of just suck me right into the screen, right? And I'm gone for hours sometimes. So what you
mhm,
do is you set a timer. So I have an iPhone, so I tell Siri to set a timer for 30 minutes. Now I
mhm,
know, in 30 minutes the timer goes off and it pulls me out of my email where I got sucked in, or my social media, right? So using scheduling things back to back, but then also using timers is
mhm,
big. And then the last part of all this in the focus, where I get my most 30-minute hours, is that you become, on the day before vacation, you become a master of tasking. Now, there's three types of tasking. There's single tasking,
mhm.
multitasking, and batch tasking. Now,
Okay.
single tasking, this is where I actually get my most, is from single tasking. And that is where you're going to go to work on something, right? And only you can do it, or you're the best at it and you have to do it.
Mhm,
But you total focus on that and you remove all distractions. So, for example, I write a lot of articles.
mhm,
I can get an hour's worth of article writing in just 30 minutes if I will only focus on that with no distractions, meaning my phone's in airplane mode, or maybe my phone's off. I turn my phone off, right? I open up my computer. Maybe I even turn the Wi-Fi off so nothing can get to me. My
mhm.
door is closed. My office door is closed, and I am working solely on that one thing. Right? If you will do that, your productivity goes through the roof, and because every distraction kind of knocks you out for like 23 minutes, they say. But anyway,
Yeah.
single focus mode, that single tasking mode, is one of the most important things you can learn, and you start to train your mind so it can drive right into that mode very, very quickly. Multitasking,
Mhm,
on the day before vacation, you get really good at multitasking, and that sometimes it gets a bad rap, but that's when you do two things at the same time without sacrificing the quality of either one, right? So, for example, I can quality drive my car while I
mhm,
quality listen to your podcast, right? So I can do
mhm.
those things. I can do an hours of driving and an hour of podcast listening at the same time, right? I
Yeah.
can exercise for an hour and listen to a podcast, doing two things at the same time. I love exercise, but I also
Mhm,
love family time. So I taught my family how to play tennis. So we go out for 30 minutes of tennis. Well, that 30 minutes of tennis was 30 minutes of tennis, but 30 minutes of family time. So I got an hour's worth of stuff done in just 30 minutes using multitasking, using that synergy. And then the last one is batch tasking. And so
Okay.
batch tasking is when you batch things together. Like if you were on the day before vacation, if you had 3 errands to run, you wouldn't like run an errand, come back, run an errand. No, you go out, you run all 3 errands, you batch them together, right? And then you come back. Same thing with like computer work, phone calls. Wherever you can batch things, you become much more efficient. I even like people to batch their interruptions. And you say, wait, how do you do that? Well, like let's say you're going into work, and when you get there, you say, look, from 9 a.m. to 11, I'm going to be in single tasking mode in my office with the door shut. Only come in if there's a fire, right? Let me get my work done. Then at 11, I will emerge from the office and I'll do 20 minutes of you, and you can ask me anything you were going to ask me during those 2 hours, right? So there you batched all those interruptions into just a little kind of almost like office hours segment of time, right? And so there it is. So when you think of the 30-minute hour, think of the day before vacation. You already did it. You know how to do it. And then look to improve your plan, delegate, focus. And the overarching thing that you do on that day before vacation is you actually release your inner perfectionist.
Yeah.
And that's big. Like done is better than perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You delegate it. You know it's not going to be done right, but at least it's going to get started, right? And you release that inner perfectionist. And that leads to so much more productivity and getting stuff done. So that is the 30-minute hour.
Wow. Thank you. That's wonderful and interesting. Now, my next question is kind of tied with a question that one of our audience is asking. Now, today is the 30th of December. In one day, we are moving into the new year. After one day, that is. And in the new year, we make resolutions. But it's widely known that some of the resolutions that we make don't last until March. I mean, we say we are going to do this, and until March, it's nowhere to be identified. Now, you've taught us about the 30-minute hour. How can I always bring it back to myself? I mean, as I'm going through things, I remind myself that, oh, yeah, it's a 30-minute hour that I have to work on. Now, that's my question. Our guest question that is coming from Brian Wainaina is asking, how do you handle procrastination when you know that you have to do something, but you still don't do it at all? You take a long time before doing it.
Okay, so that is, Brian, great question. And so when you're dealing with procrastination, what you need to do is whatever this thing is that you're procrastinating on, you have to dial down the resistance to where it gets so low that you actually do that thing. Right. So let's go. I'll do. And Brian, if you want to chat in what your example of what you're procrastinating on, we can dive deeper in that one specifically. But let's say like exercise, right? So like this is big. The new year, people want to exercise, right? And last year, someone said, my resolution, and I don't do New Year's resolutions. I actually pick a one-word theme for the year instead of a resolution. But friends of mine, they pick a resolution and they say, I'm going to exercise every day for 30 minutes. And so after the first week, maybe they do it the first week, but by the second week, they do it only 2 or 3 times, right? Now they feel bad. I lost it, forget it, it's over, I'm out, I didn't do it. And you lose the battle of the brain chemicals. And so what I like to say is you need to win early and you need to win often. So you have to dial down the resistance to that thing that you're procrastinating on. And what I mean by that is that 30 minutes of exercise is really good for your body. But so is 10 minutes. And so maybe your goal needs to be 10 minutes. Now, if you fail at that, then you chunk it down. You dial the resistance down even more to 5 minutes. And if you can't do 5 minutes, then you down it to 1 minute, which I know you could do before you get in the shower. You do some push-ups, you do some jumping jacks, you do some running in place. You can do that, right? So you dial down the resistance to where it's so low that you begin to do it, and then you build it back up. Then you go from 1 minute up to 5 or up to 10. But you need to get started, and you need to stay started so that you're getting kind of the brain chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin, you're getting the rewards for getting done. And psychologically, once you get like 3 or 4 days in a row and you have a streak, you don't want to break that streak. You don't want to break the chain, right? So I have my best habits. Today was day 1,737 days in a row that I've done my Bible app, which I love, and I did another app to take a mind shower, right? So
Mm-hmm.
1,700 days ago, I said I want a new habit. I want to create a new habit, and I want to take a mind shower every morning. Like, you know how we physically wash our bodies, but we don't
Yeah.
really wash our minds out. So I wanted to wash my mind out every single day. Now I like a 10-minute mind shower. That's my favorite. But if I only have time for a 3-minute mind shower, I'm still going to do it because I don't want to break the streak. And the app actually tracks that. And so let's talk real quickly, since it's the new year, is maybe you're trying to break procrastination,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to start a new habit.
Mm-hmm.
So I have another framework called the 21-second habit. How to create a new habit in 21 seconds, not 21 days. And I just told you I use that to make this habit for 1,700 days. Here's the key. Key number one on this is that you do something called habit linking, right? So you link the new habit to an
Mm-hmm.
existing habit that you're already a master at. Like every day you brush your teeth, you could link to that, right? For me, I said I want to do this Bible app, and I want to do my mind shower. I want to do it every morning, first thing. What is the first thing that Blaine does in the morning? No willpower required. I don't even have to think about it. Yes, you guessed it. It is my smartphone. I
Mm-hmm.
open my smartphone every day. I don't have to, there's no willpower required. So I habit linked my new habits to that because I know that's going to happen every day, right? So I went to my iPhone, I moved all the apps off the homepage, and I just put those 2 apps on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first part, habit linking. Now, when I open my phone, the second key to the 21-second habit is that you need to surf an urge to get you to do the habits. And what I mean by that is that you have some, or like when I why do I open my phone in the morning? Well, because I have a text message maybe from my son. He lives in Denmark. Maybe my friend Anthony from Greece has texted me. But I have these things. I have text messages and emails, and I want to check. Have orders come in. Like I want to know all this information. I'm so excited to check my phone. It's the first thing I do every morning. Well, I surf that urge and I say I can't do that. I'm going to take that energy, that desire, and I'm going to channel it in to do my Bible app and then to do my mind shower. So
Mm-hmm.
surfing of the urge, that's the second key. And the third key is just to get some leverage on yourself. Meaning if you do it for a week, you give yourself a reward or maybe have a penalty if you don't do it. Just try to get some leverage on yourself, or maybe have an accountability partner. Like if you're starting a new habit, start the habit with somebody else. So it's habit linking to link to a habit you're already a master at.
Yeah.
And then, and then surf some kind of an urge, right? And then get some leverage on yourself. So that's some ways to really, whatever this new habit that you want to start for the new year is, you can use that 21-second formula, the habit linking, the urge surfing. The key is though, keep it small. Well, make it so you can win. Like if it's exercise, count 1 minute if you have to, right? Because if you can get the streak going, then you're psychologically you're gonna stay with it, right?
Mm.
So that is hopefully that helps a little bit for Brian. I saw him put up some flames, so maybe it was a good answer.
Yeah, he says it's fire. Everything is fire here. And thank you very much, Blaine, for sharing all that. We really appreciate. Uh, we almost coming to the end of the show, and we have actually passed the mark. But then we have some 5 minutes to sum it up. And in this case, now you've seen the fire that is here with Blaine. I'll ask you to go and connect with Blaine to run more. So how can they connect with you even without talking about anything else? They can always follow up with you. Maybe you have a video to share with them. Maybe you do you do coaching? Do you do personal coaching? What are the things you do, by the way?
Yeah. So I am currently America's only chief results officer, and
Yeah.
so I started helping people get results in mastermind groups. And somebody said, "Hey, you're our chief results officer." I said, "I like that." So I went to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and I got a registered trademark. So I'm the only one, But anyway, I basically, like I said on the onset, is I help people take control of their lives by taking control of themselves. So I call it personal implementation, kind of like what Brian was saying, getting yourself to do the things you know you want to do and should do, and then
Mhm.
also maybe stopping the things that you don't do. So I write a lot of articles. I have master classes, and I do have some different programs. My favorite thing I do though is we do something called a super results day, and that's where we get together on Zoom every 3 hours during the day, and we have this big accountability, get stuff done day, and we do masterminding, and basically everyone crushes their to-do list. And it's like a day of super results, right? So that's probably the favorite thing I do. And if people want to connect with me, I did a TEDx talk about that white table, what you think about, you bring about. And so, yeah, just go to BlaineTEDx.com. So BLAINETEDx.com. Look at that. Anthony's on top of it. He's got it, on the screen here. And there you can opt in. You'll get to watch the video. You get a transcript, but then we'll be connected. You'll have my email address. You'll get my articles and things like that. But then if I can serve you in any way, I would love to do that.
Wow, thank you very much for all that. Wow, wow, that's fire. That's fire. Seriously, as Brian puts it, it's fire. So go follow up with Blaine at www. First, you'll have to watch his TEDx talk there, and then you can follow up with him. www.blainetedx.com. Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, we have to go. Yes, we have to go. We've done our 30 minutes for the 1 hour. But before we go, we would ask Brain to share with us a few words that we should always remember. I know there are some questions we haven't covered, but maybe we'll come back sometime later. No,
Yeah.
Follow Blaine, follow Blaine.
Yeah, no, I'm
Go,
happy
go.
to come back.
Yeah,
You
go.
know,
Yes, and you can always come back. But at this point, we're asking them to follow you because the next time that we could be having you back is in a year's time. You know,
okay.
we are
Well,
in 2020. We are in 20. What I mean is that we are in 2022, so that could be in 2023.
yes, the next year.
The
Yes, we'll
next
see
year.
everyone in the new year. And no, happy to come back and share if I can serve, in any way. I'm happy to do it. And I'll leave the listeners with this. The
Okay.
bad the bad news is time flies. The good news, you're the pilot. So pilot well, my friends. It's up to you. Pilot well.
Pilot, well, time flies, but you're the pilot.
Yes.
Do it well. Thank you very much. We really appreciate Blaine for all the time and for everything that you've shared with us. We really appreciate, and we are wishing you all the best in everything.
All right. Thank you so much. Great to be here today. And yeah, blessings for everybody in the new year.
Yeah. So everybody out there who's listening, who's watching, we thank you for being with us. Even if you get to watch this after we are through with it, the recorded version, that is, we appreciate you taking your time. You can always leave us a comment, ask a question, and we'll be glad to answer. And that's about it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I've been your host, Anthony Morore, and together with our guest, Blaine Oelkers, we are saying bye for now.